What's going on, everybody? We're back with a brand new video, and hope everyone's doing well. I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. So, last night, the Warriors, and I almost said the Raptors, the Philadelphia 76 played last night. The Warriors won. Um, but the, I guess the most uh, substantial thing coming out of the game was Joel Embiid getting hurt. Um, and so he got hurt. It was a play. It was a loose ball, and Jonathan Kuminga fell on his leg, and he got hurt. I think it's like a strain or something like that. Okay, and so while we don't want to see anybody get hurt, that's kind of a side that's kind of a side dish to what I want to get into today. The main thing was, so Draymond Green has come out, and I'm assuming these comments were made on his podcast, talking about this 65 game rule. And for those of you who may not be aware, there's a new rule this season, and it's one of these things that the NBA is instituting to reduce the rampant amount of load management that's been going on in the NBA over the past several years. And basically, there's a 65 game rule that if you want to be considered for some of these postseason, or not postseason, but some of these accolades, all NBA, MVP, and things of that nature, you've got to play at least 65 games. And so Embiid is close to not being eligible, just for the games that he's missed already. I think the last count I saw the other day, that he couldn't miss, if he missed 5 games, or he couldn't miss, it was 5 or 6 games there, that if he missed those games, he would be ineligible for MVP and things of that nature. And so now he's hurt. And so Draymond Green has decided to weigh in on this, in a sense using Joel Embiid's situation in order to prove his point. So, in order for me to not get anything misconstrued or whatever, I'm going to let you hear from the man himself. So here's what Draymond Green had to say.
I felt very much so because of the 65 game limit. Well, I think it's actually quite bull. Guys didn't face those rules before, but those same NBA, all NBA teams, those same MVP awards lists, Defensive Player of the Year, those lists are the same. I once lost a Defensive Player of the Year award to Kawhi Leonard, and I think he played 51 games. In turn, you get Joel, who comes out there tonight and he forces it. And Freak played with him and J.K. diving for the ball, but maybe it's not as bad if the knee isn't already banged up. I don't really bang with it. And now we got one of our premier faces in this league, the MVP of our league, possibly hurt for an extended period of time because he's forcing it.
So there you have it. There are the comments from one Mr. Draymond Green, and here's my real take on this. In that, I for one, I really disagree with him. But here's the other thing, because here's the thing. You're saying that he was quote unquote pushing it to be out there, and this goes to show that it illustrates the growing gulf that's starting to exist between the NBA players, and I don't want to say all of them, okay? I'll say some NBA players, and the fans / reality. And what I mean by that is, right now, the NBA players make more money than they ever have in the history of the league, and yet, consistently, they play less, seemingly, than any other point in the history of the league, and now they're complaining about having to play. And when you come out and you make statements like this, it's really, you're spitting in the face of the very fans that you want to come out and watch you perform. Because look, here's the thing. those of us who love basketball, love sport, we don't ever want to see anyone get hurt. You don't ever want to see that. Um, as a former athlete, I understand the sacrifices, what you put your body through to make it. You know, obviously to that level, it's unbelievable that 99.99999% of the population will never ever have that opportunity. So I mean, it's a tremendous amount of work and sacrifice to get to the professional sport at any level. But unfortunately, injuries are a part of it. And Draymond said he was pushing it to get out there. That maybe if he doesn't go out there, that he doesn't get hurt because he's banged up. Well, then, to anyone that got hurt after game 1 or 2, what would you have to say about that? Were they pushing it? Because here's the thing. From game 1, you could really make the argument, maybe even from the preseason and up, nobody's at 100%. Because by that logic, then you should only play when you are at 100%. And if that's the standard, then nobody is ever going to play. Because they used to say that the NBA season was a marathon, that it was a grind, and that you had to do what you had to do to make it through 82 games. And now that's not there. And so, you know, these guys can, or at least the perception is that they don't want to play 82 games. And quite frankly, those who perceive it, they're right. Because, for instance, let me back up. Because the scoring title, let me not say the scoring title, the all-time scoring record that LeBron James has, when he broke that record, obviously, you know, the whole thing was, will this record ever be broken, yada, 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 so on and so forth. But we did an article, over at sneakershoptalk.com, and we talked about the scoring title is not even the most unbreakable record in NBA history. That is a consecutive game streak held by one Mr. A.C. Green. And I don't have it out, but I want to say it's between 1,100 and close to 1,200 games, if it's not over 1,200 games. And nobody is going to break that the way things are going now. At the time, I think the leader was Mikal Bridges with, like, at the time, I think when we wrote it, I think it was like 346 some odd games, something like that. Now, I don't watch a lot of New Jersey Nets games, and I think he may have missed a game. If he has not, somebody correct me on that. But you know, you're not going to see that ever again. You're not going to see somebody play 82 games consistently like that anymore. And so it also goes to show that it's a problem that the NBA has to address. The real issue is not the rule itself. The issue is the fact that the NBA had to institute the rule to get these dudes to play, because it was the issue was becoming so rampant of these guys missing games. And you know, the NBA had attempted to do some things in terms of scheduling, because those of us of a certain age, we remember where, you know, teams would play 4 games in 5 nights, or 5 and 6, so you have, you know, 4 and 5 games a week. And this was before some of the amenities that these players are afforded today. And somehow those guys in lesser equipment and with lesser technology made less and played more. And that's an issue. And to me, if you're going to rail against something, that should be the issue. But obviously Draymond's not going to say that. Because here's the thing, and I didn't do a story about it, and maybe we should have did a video or something, but the NBA is going to mess around, and I'm speaking of the players when I say let me say the NBA players, let me say it like that. Y'all keep up with this foolishness, y'all gonna mess around, and y'all are going to lose the safety net of guaranteed contracts, at least as you know them, because keep doing this, they keep ticking the fans off. People are starting to turn away from the game. I know I've watched basketball since like 1988, 1989, and at no point since have I ever been as disinterested and disgusted in the product that I see on the court. Not only in terms of style of play, of what's happening, but then, every time you go out, you don't know who's going to be there. A guy is completely helped at the end of, at the end of one game, and then the next game, all of a sudden, he's out. He's a healthy scratch, or whatever the case may be, whatever they're using to weasel their way out of playing. And so, that is a real issue, because if people aren't tuning in, if people aren't showing up, that's going to get some attention. And eventually, they're going to have to go to potentially more drastic measures to try to curb this. And if you are a player, that is the last thing that you want. And I'm wondering, because I was sitting here trying to figure out, just where did we go wrong? I think this obviously the league has made more money, but I think once these guys 9, 8, 9, and soon to be probably 10-figure contracts, or I'll just say 8 and 9-figure contracts became the norm. All of a sudden, these people, they look at themselves as more than a basketball player. They're some sort of entity, and because of that, one, they're not going to do anything to try to disrupt that money flow. But then, secondly, I really wonder, and I think Michael Jordan said it on Oprah, and he was talking about when you pay some of these guys this exorbitant amount of money up front. They don't work as hard because they've got it. Now, granted, some of these guys aren't necessarily rookies coming into the league. These are guys that have been in the league for some time. But you have to wonder with, these guys getting, I can't even say 80 million, 100 plus, 200 million, and now 300 or close to three. Jalen Brown got 330, $300 million. You have to wonder if, are they somewhat taking that foot off the gas? And aside from that, do these guys really love the game like that? Because, and if you really love it, you don't want to take days off. And so the NBA, has really got an issue, and they've got to figure out how they're going to address this before it gets out of hand. Because people are going to continue to walk away and not pay attention to basketball anymore. And that's going to be a real issue. But it's sentiments such as Draymond's that really turn the fan base off. Because it's, and I'll say this in wrapping up, because the perception is already that you all are a bunch of overpaid, pampered, spoiled millionaires. And the fact that you're complaining about having to play a game a couple nights out of the week, when people, you make more in a quarter, some of you, than some people do all year. And so when you're complaining about having to go out there with nicks and bruises, or when you don't feel good, the very people that are coming to see you play is falling on deaf ears. Because, some of them would chew their right arm off to have some of your financial resources. And so when you complain like this, it turns the same way that some of the WNBA players complain about money turns fans off. When the NBA players complain about having to play to get the exorbitant amount of money that they get, it has the same effect. It turns fans off. And so these guys better be careful, because it's clear by some of their comments they truly look down on the very fans that has helped get them to where they are today. And the fan will not take too kindly to that. They're only going to put up with that for so long before they find something else to do. So they better be careful. And so, with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up, because I could really go on about this for a lot longer, but I won't. But what do you think about what old Draymond had to say? And what do you think about this sentiment that seems to be in the NBA today? Let us know what you think. And thank you, as always, for spending a few moments with us. We'll be back with more videos real soon. As always, also, definitely, if you feel so inclined, head over to our website at sneakershoptalk.com, where we do daily stat caps. We do a statistical recap of last night's games. We post injury reports and other things of that nature. We're trying to get the sporting news section. We're trying to elevate that. So definitely head over there and check that out. We'll be back with more videos real soon. Take care. And as always, tell the ones that you love them. Peace.